Damn, yeah, dude. They closed all the gyms back up again here because the cases are fucking
It's like
climbing up again.
15,000, right?
Yeah, 50,000. I was like, what the fuck, man? This
Victory
is
Royale.
wild. I was like, oh, dude, it's going up. Like when the resurgence and like the number of cases were starting to go back up, it was like 8K at first, and I was like, I was already surprised. I was, oh my God, that's a lot. And then it went up again 2 days later to 10K, and I'm like, Jesus fuck, what's going on here? And then it goes up again because these motherfucks can't count. they had problems counting, and then so they updated it again 2 days later, and we're at 15 now, and I'm just like, this is crazy, you know?
Yo, COVID gonna have that victory royale.
Fucking 1 + 1 = -2, dude.
Bruh.
It's crazy. It's crazy. They're trying to fuck with their numbers right now. So like all the gyms closed back up, so I'm working out again at home, which isn't bad. I found this like pretty decent exercise. Not found, well, cause like I'm a MacGyver up in this bitch. Like I'm trying to fucking play with shit, and I have this chair that I put books on top of, like my Ganzas, my yearbooks, and then cause they're heavy as fuck.
Yeah,
or like
only use for them really.
yeah, exactly. Collectively, they're heavy as fuck. Like, because, fuck school, dude. So, like, I was, like, pushing them on the chair. It was kind of like a lat pullover. So my knees are on the ground. And, like, I would push the chair and I'd, like, pull it back into my lats, if you get what I mean.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, I did that and I supersetted that with, like, kind of like a twisting variation where it gets one side. And then it was super sick. It's super sick. I fucking love the contraction. For some reason, I'm getting a better pump with this than I ever did at the gym. Maybe that was because, like, I was fucking not recovering properly at the gym. Or, like, when I worked out at the gym, I would just, like, hit the gym and I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay.
Not just, it's sort of weird. Like, you get, like, a much better pump and you feel things a lot more if you do body weight. Yeah. It's like you can actually, like, really feel it. Like, you can really stress the muscle because you're not really worried about, like, the weight you're carrying aside from yourself. Or the weight that you're pulling.
Yeah, it's such a... Oh, I'm not going to say fucking mind-opening experience.
It's a out-of-body experience, maybe.
Yeah. When you get to feel the muscle contract, like, it's just such a different experience, you know? Yeah. But it is a little game-changing, I will say that.
It's like when all the muscles do be contracting.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, like... man, our whole fitness thing really started like what, at the end of our high school years, right? Like, you started really working out. What's that? 11th, 12th grade.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like I started working out a lot in like grade 10. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Grade 11 started doing it more. Grade 12 started doing it more.
Yeah.
But like, it was still like ego lifting, It was like oh, gotta get big, bro. Gotta have big chesticles for all the bones, bro. Like, I'm gonna make all the women love me, bro. I'm like, nah, shut the fuck up, Alex. Right? Like after high school, it was big boy lifts, bro. Big boy lifts. But I was getting chunky. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting chunky.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm probably more built than I ever been, more leaner than I ever been, I suppose. And I'm just like, because just like it's just continuous progressive overload, and I'm just like, this is good. Like, it's been great. Like, out of like the 4 years I've been doing lifting, like the 1 year of body weight and shit and continuous effort, I've seen a lot more progress. Like, I actually have lats now. It's insane. I have lats.
Whereas before, I had nothing.
I only had a chest, right? I'm like, I feel that groove, baby. Feel that groove between my chesticles.
It was just a void. There was like no lats.
Back,
just black
fuck
space.
That shit, right? Yeah. And then like when I did legs, like in the gym, I'm like, yeah, just moving weight and shit. But now when I do legs, I'm like, I feel it. I feel it. And like now I actually can like flex my hamstring, which I've never really had the chance before. Like if I'm just standing up, I can like flex it. I'm like, ooh, and when I feel it, right? I'm like, it hasn't felt like, I don't remember having this thick of a leg. And then like when I flex my quad,
how long of a fucking leg, dude?
When I squat, right, and I can like see the muscle, I'm like, kind of nutty, bro. Kind of nutty.
You fucking flex your hamstring in the mirror and you're like, yo, what is that? God damn.
I have the ability to go back now, bro. Instead of extending myself forward and pushing, I can pull back. But pull up, not out.
Hey, never done before, dude.
Never done before. Never done before.
But so, yeah, like it's kind of like in the gap year, in our gap years at least, that we kind of, or at least for me, for you, like you really started doing that bodyweight when you got into like your first year of college, right?
Yeah,
for uni. But yeah, like it was in that gap year, like I started kind of experimenting more on things, and it wasn't just with fitness, right? Because like with fitness, there was a whole thing, you know, like I really wanted to, because I hated myself, you know. Granted, whether or not it's, you know, a good motivator, that remains to be seen. But for me personally, I think self-hatred was a decent driving force. Definitely not the best. It wasn't like it wasn't a renewable resource, if you will. Like, no. You know, like if you hate yourself to a certain extent, and once you reach that certain extent in terms of trying to fix yourself, so to speak, then that self-hate is kind of gone. And you try to look for new things to hate on yourself for, and it's just like, what the fuck? It's a vicious cycle. But like I said, like I've really been experimenting on new things, and one of those things has been creating a podcast. For example, we have this, the Caffeinated Cortex. But we started off as the Wet Brains. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of just like segmenting off of that. This is still kind of a part of the Wet Brains, but it's kind of like our own thing, our own dynamic duo, if you will, rather than that the sexy six that we have over there on the Wet Brains. So, we kind of just wanted to do our own thing, and I think this is like interesting to say that, like, you know, like, because we're just starting out. Don't know how it's gonna go, but it's pretty good so far.
It's like pilot round 3, electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
Pilot round 3. We did start off as the Wet Gains, but I don't know. Like when it comes to fitness, it's such a interesting community, to say the least, just because like of how people are very, very entitled to their own opinion in the fitness community. Like mm-hmm. if you rustle someone's feathers, dude, like it's either you're in for a really bad time, or they're gonna be like, hey, like, you know, be more open. But it's more likely that if you rustle someone's feathers in the fitness community, they're just gonna be like, fuck you, like, no, conventional deadlift is the way to go. Someone deadlifts fucking trash, shit like that. It's like, no, you're still picking off fucking rocks off the ground, essentially. Like, it's the same shit.
Lift heavy rock, bro. Lift heavy rock.
But yeah, so it's super interesting. Like, what were the some of the driving factors you think for us to create like this segment off of the Wet Brains? And I mean, I know a few, but yeah.
Well, one thing is just like we already had like the Wet Gains, right? And
yeah,
it was fitness related, which we're both passionate for, right? But in the sense, like, we felt like we wanted to give ourselves more creative liberty. So by combining the Wet Gains with the Caffeinated Cortex, it gives a wider array of things that we could actually talk about. So it's not strictly limited to fitness anymore. And now we could actually talk about a whole variety of things that we had on our mind and sort of wanted to talk about. And, you know, that ranges from something as minuscule as like how we like our coffee in the day, versus to something as what we deem impactful, like, you know, finding motivation, trying to find a career. Even though I'm jobless, here's how to find a career. Or like something as like, you know, self-help and what we've done in our personal experiences to help improve ourselves as persons. Additionally, we also like to think just like it's more rambling, it's not as structured. Just so it's like more genuine thoughts, because normally when we did like a themes and like, or the topic of the idea or like topic of the video in the Wet Gains, it was more of like we had like an idea that we had to stick around, and then we just tried to like think of things that would fit with that topic, right? But now, since it's more free flowing, right? I'm just like, oh, I got started or some shit. Free flowing. It allows for a lot more tangents and a lot more
Jesus
like
Christ.
flowability between different topics, but basically means tangents, in which we are able to talk about the things that we just genuinely find interesting or that comes to our mind, and we just don't have to like feel like it's strictly limited to fitness. And like as much as I do love fitness, right? Like I like talking, if you don't know, and I like talking about like things that I like. And I think Benjo does the exact like likes doing that as well. So if we can have that kind of freedom, then oh boy, better content for everyone else that like to watch. Shout out to the fans from day one, you know, keeping it real.
Who? What? But yeah, like, yeah, we obviously created a podcast because we fucking hate talking. We absolutely fucking loathe it. It's the
fucking
worst.
despise talking,
Fuck.
bro.
Like, the podcast, it's really just for us to fucking exercise our vocal boxes. That's all we're here for. No.
Yeah.
But we obviously do like talking a lot. And it's also nice to talk about a wide range of things rather than just fitness. And it's also easier to have a back and forth between one. Well, not one, because you can't have a back and forth there unless you have dissociative fucking disorder, whatever that is.
It's like
different personalities. Yeah, exactly. Then I guess you can do it then. But that being said, like it's easier to bounce off ideas when we're with one other person rather than fucking 5 other people. Because when you're with 5 other people, of course, it's easier to say something and kind of rustle someone's feathers there. This is by the way my new favorite phrase for this episode, at least. It's fucking rustle someone's feathers. So
isn't it rustle your jimmies?
Russell Jimmy's, dude. Fucking if there's a bird, it's feathers. So it's the same thing. I think it's like you can like interchange it too. Fucking Jimmy your feathers. How about that?
Russell Jimmy's feathers, bro. Just combined.
But yeah, it's definitely easier to kind of have a debate, almost kind of like a really just a back and forth between one other person, because then the kind of ideals are more in line with each other, whereas if you have 5 other people, it's kind of like that's like 5 different lines trying to intersect at the same point, which is not that likely to happen. There's most likely like one of the lines is just gonna fucking become a squiggly line like sometime down the path. But anyway, that neither here nor there. We of course created the podcast because we love to fucking talk. Like we said, it was kind of like during our gap year we wanted to do something. I watched at the very least a lot of fucking YouTube, and I listened to a few podcasts, but from those few podcasts, they were good. I enjoyed them a lot, and I wanted to do something the same. And I think this kind of feeling to do something the same as people who do something well is very, it's very much shared across people everywhere. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who want to create a podcast, but of course, like, we did the same. We wanted to create a podcast. We made one, and now we want to talk about certain stuff. What we want to kind of talk about for this episode is a gap year, of course, taking a gap year and how that can help. Talking about how a gap year can obviously come across as a little, like, I don't want, like, your parents may not want you to do a gap year, but I don't know. It's really a whole thing. And when I took a gap year, my parents were very, very supportive. You took a gap year, right? Were your parents
I took like gap 8 months because like I had to wait for uni. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you were kind of just waiting on it.
But it was a very so. I think it was relatively somewhat similar, mainly because like I had to apply for like colleges after I finished the school year. So even then I was like waiting on like when I got in, and then like even then I still had to. I was in that gap year kind of mentality because like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Like, do I want to stay here and do like uni here, or do I want to like go to Australia, or do I want to go here? Do I want to go there? And then like my thoughts about like what am I gonna spend the next 8 months of my life doing? Right.
It's a whole thing, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking.
And then there's these preconcept, like there's these notions or stereotypes of what a gap year entails, right? There's gonna be the people that don't know what they're doing, right? So then they'll take a gap year to figure things out. There's gonna be people that don't know what they're doing. They're gonna take a gap year to do fuck all. And there's gonna be the people that like take a gap year that don't know what they're doing, but they're like, attempting. Well, like, no, I think that's the first one. No, they're like someone that knows what they want to do, but they take a gap year anyway, right?
Mm.
And when you sort of meet or sort of encounter these three types of like people taking a gap year, you sort of realize like, oh, you can actually utilize the time very well, in a variety of ways, or you can just be a complete idiot about it, right? And I'm
Mm.
like not here to dog on you if you want to like rest and relaxation after 12 years of hard schooling, like bruh, like I know what that's like, but I feel like even after like 8 months, if you're not doing anything, you really sort of like want to start doing something. That's from my personal experience. I don't know how would you feel, Benjo, like after you like started with your gap year, like how did you start feeling with it?
Yeah, when I started the gap year, that's like as soon as I graduated, like that was when I started my whole fitness thing, and was it good in the long run? Yeah, I think it was good. Obviously, I'm at a much better, I'm with a much better body now, but in terms of my mental state, like it kind of it fluctuated. It's not. It is better, but it's not like like where I want it to be, obviously. And like you said, within that 8 months, you kind of want to definitely start to do something. It's definitely not like I didn't want to do anything. I was trying to get certified as a personal trainer, and I was able to do that, which is great. But obviously, there was the question of how can I get clients next. It's kind of like one thing after the other. But that whole thing of what you said of like relaxation after 12 years of hard work in school, like it's whatever. Like if I think uh there are reasons why people want to relax, so to speak, not well really kind of just like not really do much in the way of productivity, so to speak. I'm not entirely sure. Like I know like the definition of productivity for some people would be to go to college. For some people it would be to do something on the side, to do a project. For some people it would be another thing entirely. So when it comes to relaxation, trying to I guess deload those 12 years of schooling, um, it's kind of like there's probably a reason why they want to do that, right? It's probably because like whether it's like a mental thing, whether it's because something with the family, maybe your parents are a little bit too hard on you for those 12 years and you kind of just want to fucking take it a little easy, perhaps. I get it. Relaxation is definitely desirable all the time, but I think it's just like there are definite reasons as to why people do them, or maybe it's because like that people don't really see a reason to be productive because they have everything right then and there.
Mm. I think, well, because like, if you do take a gap year for like relaxation, right, and you're not, let's say you're not doing anything, I feel like after like 4 months, 5 months, you're gonna get sick of relaxation. Like if you're not doing anything,
Mm.
because like to me, like it's as school was a pain in the ass and completely useless at certain points, or quite a lot of points actually. Um, the one of the reasons that I figured out that I enjoyed doing it was because I got like the sense of accomplishment when I did work, or like when I did something, because I know that I can deserve the relaxation. Um, and plus like it was a different, it was like a different feeling on like a day-to-day kind of level, because like
Yeah.
you have like the Monday to Friday, and then you have the weekend, and then something you can do on the weekend. But then if you're obviously having the weekend span from Monday to Sunday,
Mm.
and it just gets blended in, and it's like the same thing over and over and over again, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Like that's the issue I have with like a gap year, because like you're not, it's like if obviously relaxation is a very important thing, right? And I'm all for it, but then there gets a point where you've probably relaxed for too long, I would say, and then
Mm.
it's nice to start doing things again. And these things could like involve something as like reading, helping yourself
Yeah.
grow and develop. Like I do believe that people that take gap years are wanting to have fun. I'm like, yeah, go for it, right? And if you're going out and like going traveling or seeing people, building connections, I think you're making good use of your time. Definitely. But if you're gonna sit on your ass all day playing League of Legends ranked, trying to climb, which I fucking did. I spent 6 hours like a day playing League. I'm like, I fucking wasted so much time. Just trying to play League. And I just like, I feel like I could do a lot more. All right. But then it's just the sense of like the lacking sense of urgency, because I didn't feel like I had to do anything or had to do anything necessary or like very important, I would say, like an assignment or a project, or well, I did have commitments and things I had to do, but like it wasn't at like the very like fast pace of like gotta submit this, gotta submit that, gotta do this, gotta study for that. I didn't really study, but it was more of like that, and they created a sense of urgency which made you feel like you had to do work or do things and do tasks. But without that sort of like responsibility, and if you don't have responsibility for yourself, you sort of just get like you just ooze into jello, and it's like I'm gonna play League of Legends again, fellas. Like that, right? You turn into that, and like that's the big distinction I would want to make between like spending time doing things that like mean something to you versus spending time doing things that don't have a necessary impact on your life.
Yeah.
Like you went out there to get like certified in personal training. That was productive. You did something good, right? And then it goes on the same lines as someone going out there and building stronger bridges and connections with someone during their gap year. Or maybe they take something like another hobby for them to learn. Yeah. Those are good, right? Me, on the other hand, playing League of Legends for 6 hours, not showering, and like just like lifting 3 times a week. Oh, I'm bulking, bro, and I'm just like shoveling food on my face. It's just that like that kind of mentality is just like what makes you seem like you're not gonna go anywhere, right? It's like it's like the people that graduate from high school, right? No agenda in their mind, nothing to do, and then they just go to high school parties, bro. Well, this is a bit, italics, bit specific. It's like I'm targeting myself. It's like you go to high school parties.
I did the same, dude.
Yeah, right. But then like you just like go there and you're just like, no one I really know is here. Like it's like what the fuck are you
just
doing?
You're there like, for sure. Hey, I don't know this person.
And then someone's like, "Oh, did you like graduate recently?"
And then you're just like, "I'm out. I gotta go."
I'm like, I did. I'm like gap year, that shit, Like, oh, cool. And then a couple months later, they're gonna be like, "You're still here?" Like, bro.
That's
And that's something for you to realize is just like eventually, right? You just have to keep growing, right? You can't, stay in the state of stagnation, because that's what I believe. If you don't have like things to do in a gap year, you sort of just stagnate and you're just like alive rather than truly living.
Yeah.
And I understand that, because like I was in that situation, and it's so alluring because like it's like, I don't have to do anything today. I can just masturbate and sleep all day. Like, great. What a fucking great like thing to do if you want to like for like a month. But after a month, it's just sort of just because you build habits so quickly. If you do something for like 3 or 4 days, it just starts becoming habit. I'm just gonna have Cheetos on Friday, and I'll just have Cheetos on Saturday. I'll have flaming hot Cheetos on Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like, baby, Cheetos. Like, it builds into these kind of habits.
2 months from then, you're just gonna look at the Cheetos and you're just gonna be like, oh, again? Okay, well, I'll just fucking eat it again, I guess.
Hello, baby. It's like that. Like you don't like, you create these like bad habits for yourself, right? And then eventually, when you want to start getting productive again, or when you want to start doing things, it's hard to break them because you've already established this kind of habitual routine. And I'm dying.
No, don't die. You're good. Is it the Cheetos?
The Cheetos they fought back, bro. There's like, you talking shit, motherfucker?
Chester Cheetah in your blood veins right now, dude.
Just like fucking
yo,
inject
up,
like
dude?
a fucking IV kit of Cheetos in my body right now. But yeah,
That's the dream.
but like yeah, like even then, like I think if we do have Kobe on in this segment, right? He'll talk about how he was doing like DJing for like a radio
Yeah,
station,
for
which
radio. Yeah,
I'm like, yo, that's fucking dope because
that's super sick.
you're doing some things to keep yourself productive, right? And if you're like, if you're still looking like, oh, I'm looking at unis, or like you're planning like when to do like certain tests to help you get like a score for you to go into uni or something like that, that's still being productive because you're still having a consideration of what you want to be doing in the future. Because then it shows
Yeah,
that you're actually looking at the long term rather than just looking short term. It's like, oh, I'll do it when it gets there. And like yeah, like I think like if you're really unsure about how you are approaching a lot of things in your life, especially after you graduate high school, you're just like, I don't know what to do, especially with like the whole the Rona thing as well. A gap
boom.
year, isn't that bad as parents
Mm.
make it seem. Really, it really isn't. Um, and well, I didn't really have a choice. So I was going to Australia, but for people that had to take a gap year or wanted to take a gap year, like the parents are either really coin tossy with this. It's either they'll be very supportive or they'll be like, "Oh, you're just gonna be lazy," and they have a point because like if you're not monitoring yourself, you will become lazy.
Yeah,
You will just be growing into like a sack of potatoes. Just because it's like so easy. It's like when you don't challenge yourself or do things that are hard, you just sort of just like feel the need to not do it because
absolutely.
your brain is just like, we'll do the path of least resistance, whichever keeps us alive. And if eating Cheetos on a Saturday night, watching Netflix keeps you alive, we're gonna be doing that every day. And
Yeah,
I do think that like you can, it's still possible to like break out of those routines, but it's just so hard, and it's something that you just have to consider for yourself, like what do you want to do.
yeah, absolutely. I think because what's it called? When it comes to trying to be productive or like doing things that uh, other people deem like as work, as actual, good things to do in your gap year, there is only so many motivational speakers that you can listen to, unless you actually unless yourself want to actually, you know, do something about it. Because if you don't want to, motivational speakers will only get you so far. Like you can listen to, fucking Denzel talk
Washington.
about motivation. You can hear fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger about getting the dream body. But unless you don't want to fucking do it, they're just speaking words that don't mean anything to you. Sure, you might feel something like, "Oh, dude, fucking, I'll be back." Said this, the guy who said that. He said this. I feel motivated, and then you go to the gym for 2 weeks and you're done. Like it's it's about um, just at the very least trying. That's I'm not even saying you gotta find what you want to do right away. Like at least try to stop, like Alex said, your habits, your daily habits that you find comfort in, and at least to try to do something else that you want to try to create. Because finding, I watched this video. I think you know Improvement Pill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched a video on like on how to find things that you want to do, and it's like um, the thing about like this day and age, it's that it's very consumerist. Like there's a lot that you can consume, whether it be in the form of food, videos, music, things of that nature. There's a lot that you can consume, and because there's a lot you can consume from, there's a lot more places where you can get dopamine from, and that's like where like your brain is like, oh, this is fucking sick. Cheetos, dopamine. Fucking Netflix, yo, dopamine too, yo. Where are all the other dopamine factors coming in from? Games, shit like that. So when you try to break out of that habit of trying to, or not even trying to, of just like, eating shit, watching movies, playing games. I'm not saying that those are bad things to do, by the way. You can do those when you want, but at the same time, you need to know when to break out of those habits and then really try to create something for yourself that you enjoy doing, because most people nowadays will probably say like, no, I want to do something that I want to do. I want to do something on my own time. Okay, if you want to do that, then you need to at least try
Mm-hmm.
to fucking break out of your habits, because I know that's a big problem, is for people to break out of habits and try to do new things. I know that's a big problem. I've been experiencing that fucking shit this entire time, and stuff like that. Like, for me, it's been trying to create videos. I've been making videos for classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been really enjoying that. Whereas before, dude, I fucking hated doing schoolwork. I hated that shit 100% of the way. But because now I get to make some videos for my classes, it's just like, oh, this is kind of fun. I enjoy the editing. I enjoy the video process. The video editing process. I enjoy the creative process. What about you? Have you found anything that you particularly like
Well,
recently?
I think well, if I was to put it in that context for like my gap year, right? Or gap 8 months to be more specific. You like you said, when there's a lot of media to consume, you have the own agency for yourself to determine what kind of media you want to consume, right? Now, if you want to consume mindless media like television, which is meant to make you more stupid, do it, because that's your choice. But there are better forms of media that you can consume to help you grow and develop as a person, and there are plenty of things for you to do as well to help you determine an idea of where you want to go in your future. Um, for example, like if you just start picking up a book as like, oh, he's gonna go on about reading again. Like, no, like it's people dog on it so much. It's like, oh, it's like, because like when you pick up on a book and you just read something about what you're interested in, or just look for things that you're interested in, just start reading. It doesn't matter whether or not you finish the book; it's whether or not you get those ideas into your head to help you determine how you want to like go forth in life. Like there's so many things you could do, and if you consume like certain types of media to help you get better and give you better idea, you'll feel like you'll have a better foundation for where you want to go in university. Like it's like me reading a lot of books relating around social issues helped me determine that like I am really passionate for my course that I'm doing in university, right? And even to this point, I still enjoy doing it because I find it interesting, and it's a driving passion to keep me going forward. But then that doesn't mean I'm only limited to reading the books in that field. I've read other books as well to help me sort of look at how I see my day to day like life, right? And like the one big book that I've read during my gap 8 months was this. Well, it's called Emotional Intelligence, right? And because I found myself to be a very emotionally stunted as a person, that I didn't understand how to like operate emotionally. Like I didn't know how people were feeling. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell how I was feeling. So then I took that time during my gap year to like figure out how I fucking function. And like I still wasn't very good. Like I wasn't very stable as a person. Actually no, I was fucking horrible. I was horrible. I was completely gone. But I was aware. I was aware.
Self-awareness, baby. That's what we live
So
for.
that was a step forward. Like I wasn't stable. I was off the railings a couple times, but I was aware. I was definitely aware. And then that sort of led me to like the notion of like, there's other things that I have to do for myself. Aside from, having an academic life and pursuing that and figuring out what kind of goals I set out for myself academically, I also have to set like these goals for myself as an individual. And to me, that was to like read more books revolving around the human mind, emotions, controlling emotions, and being able to like deal with your issues and confronting them. And like that is something whether or not you could do if you have these kind of issues as well during your gap years, like start opening up wounds that didn't heal and looking at them, like actually revealing and grieving about them, or doing whatever you need to do to actually get over and have these like wounds properly sealed. Because like a lot of the times people just put a band-aid and say, we're good. And I think like a gap year is a great time, an opportunity to do that for yourself, because like what do you have to do? Like if you're going to be consuming media, you might as well consume media that's going to provide a benefit to you in the long term. Um, and like I think picking up new skills and things like that. Like I picked up the ability. Well, I didn't really pick up anything, but I did a lot more research for myself revolving around fitness, right? Just to like get a
Mm.
better idea of what I can do and what I should do and what I need to do. Um, and from that idea, I was able to like determine like, okay, these are my fitness goals, and these are another set of goals of individual for like my individual person. And then from then on as well, like I sort of figured out I wanted to like branch out and make friendships. So then I did make friendships. I socialized a lot more, and I tried to go out of my comfort zone to be in places and to like meet new people. And I was able to meet new people, and I think that was able to like help me grow as a person as well, because I was given the opportunity to figure out like interaction between other people, and then trying to figure myself and their dynamic.
just, just imagine you before you're like Mark Zuckerberg, like a fucking robot.
Like, dude,
Hi. Uh,
it wasn't that like I was like Mark Zuckerberg type beat. Oh fuck, my phone song. It was more of just like
oh shit, yo,
yeah.
read the book, dude. It's a
The
sign.
book is striking back. It was more. It wasn't more of like me being Mike Zuckerberg. Like this was Facebook filter. Like no, I like him with his weird ass knee bend curvature. If you ever seen that photo with him in the jeans when he's walking his dog, it's like
He
his
is
knees is bending backwards. It's fucking
Mark.
insane. But yeah,
Mark Zuckerberg is he's a physiological specimen. I'll say that much.
dude, he's a fucking
He's a lizard.
he's a lizard.
You know.
Remember like all the fucking like sunscreen on his face when he was like on the surfboard, and he was dummy thick. He's dummy thick. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, he's a specimen.
He
I'm
is a
telling
specimen.
you.
He's a specimen. But yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah. It's like what the fuck was I saying? Yeah. I think like the learning, like the skills part, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, right? It's not really like a sense of urgency when you have to like learn something, but when you do have a lot of the time that you have in a gap year, it really, really pays off to learn skills, because not only will you keep yourself preoccupied, but you'll have a lot of time to hone and define your skills as well.
True.
And
yeah, cause
yeah, you go.
Like what's it called? Fuck. It fucking flew away, dude. Like a fucking bird. No. What's it like? Yeah, we're not telling you what to do. Like you don't have to do any of this. By the way, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Gap year, no gap year. Relax, be productive or whatever. We're just giving you our experiences. We're not like you fucking do whatever the fuck you want to do. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I sort of figured that like this is what I would have done if I could have redone my gap year slightly differently. Like it's just the matter of it's just a matter of fact that like when you look back at things, like at the moment I was probably enjoying myself quite a lot, right? But then looking back at things from like my perspective, being slightly wiser than I was before, like probably 3% wiser.
3%, big jump.
Big jump, big jump. 3% wiser. Is something that like I wish I did this, because now at this moment I'm more aware of what I'm capable of, and I'm more aware of my goals. And like yeah, since I was technically younger, and all I wanted to do was like let's get fucking drunk,
Okay.
and like that's the only thing in my mind. Let's get wasted, yo, party. Like yeah, like you can like I just really wanted to do that, and just like let's play video games. And like yeah, it's fun, but you're not giving yourself tools to make time or like life in the future be a lot easier. Like imagine this, right? Like if I spent more time working on my Spanish, like actually practicing Spanish, by the time like now, I would probably be a lot more fluent and a lot like better at Spanish. And or like if I took the time to learn a new skill. I would be slightly better with that skill because I could like do it like 30 minutes a day. And it's not even a big commitment of like 10, 20 minutes a day
Yeah.
to do something. But it's
This
just
episode of the Caffeinated Cortex is sponsored by Skillshare. Yo,
it's sponsored by
guys.
Skillshare. Yeah, I just like it's just because like I'm looking at things from like the perspective of myself now. And
Mm,
now I have completely different goals from how I sort of looked at life like a year ago.
I agree. I mean, same for me. I'm definitely sure that you see that way. I see that. I see you, dude. I see you. Can't speak right now, dude.
It's like the fact is, physically you probably won't change much. Well, depends on you, but um, mentally, when you start encountering a lot more experiences, and new events, issues, your perception and awareness definitely changes.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
and then yeah, like my goals at that time were completely different than my goals now. Like I said, and I was more focused on more shallow based things because that's all I was really given in that environment. Because I wasn't growing myself, I was just staying in some like a neutral place, sort of just like flowing between stagnation and neutrality, and not really like pushing myself upwards into developing myself as a person. So my goals were relatively shallow, right? Compared to like what I perceive my goals as now. And that's not a matter of like me just being a really shit person at that time. Well, that's one of the two. It's just more of the factors of, the environment that I was in. It didn't, I was in an environment where it's just like the same thing on a daily basis because I didn't want to challenge myself. And, looking back, I wish that I challenged myself.
Mm,
Um, and it doesn't have to be like something incredibly hard. It's just more of for you to, you know, have something new to do. But it's
right.
like this is just me speaking from like a soon to be 20-year-old. My view on like a gap year when I was like 18, fresh out of high school. And like when you're fresh out of high school, the only thing you want to do is like, let's get fucking lit. Let's drink all the fucking
Uh,
booze. Like, yeah.
wait, really quick. Did you your motivation levels now? It sounds like they're much higher to the point where you're willing to challenge yourself. Would you say that? And if so, uh, do you think that you would have the motivation back then to challenge yourself
Mm, mm.
if you were able to redo it over again?
Um,
And is it even about motivation at this point?
I would say that my motivations are a lot higher because
Mm.
I've sort of when we do make a video on our goals, I will teach y'all, whoever listening, how to approach goals in a more productive manner. But I'm saving it for the next video because that's content.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, guys.
But yeah, I would say my motivations and goals are a lot more like higher and more clear to me. But it is a factor of the environment and the experiences I've had in the last year, especially during lockdown, which is also another video. Growth during lockdown, fellas, and
Dude,
dudettes.
you want to know how spicy this talk about my about gap year has been?
Very spicy.
You want to see how spicy? Look at this shit. This fucking spicy, dude. Look how spicy this shit is, man. Can you see me?
Yo. Man's got his.
Yeah, I'm sweaty as fuck, man. Jesus Christ, the fuck.
That'll be the thumbnail.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing. I need my Rexona deodorant. No, I have fucking Old Spice, but I think it's just sweat that they fucking have in there.
Yo,
Anyway.
no stress.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I would say like my motivations are a lot higher now, and in future videos I will explain why. But if I were to have that same drive, I would not have the same drive I did. Mainly because my mentality towards life was a lot different. It was like oh, I'm gonna flow in the moment. Whatever happens, happens, right? And that approach made me not put effort just because of
Mm.
how easy things were at that time. So the things that I had to put effort in, such as my body, um, my mental capabilities, my mental growth, right? My issues, um, my ex-girlfriend at that time, I did not put in the effort. I did not put in the effort because of my mentality, because of my lack of motivation, because the whole environment around me was just so neutral that I did not feel that I had to continue putting in effort. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. And, that sort of mentality led to, obvious problems for myself.
Right.
And if I had better motivations and I didn't have like a let it flow by, bro, like I would have actually, pursued things a lot better because like you actually realize like there's things that you have to put effort in. Since like I said, I was a product of my environment and like of that stagnation for myself because I didn't challenge myself. I didn't want to do better because I'm like everything was so comfortable.
Yeah.
Is obviously the sensation of like whatever happens happens, and then just like yeah, if something
It's
goes bad, it
interesting
goes
though
bad.
that you say that your motivations has changed because of a change in environment. You said, right?
Environment,
At least one of the reasons
one
why.
of the reasons, definitely.
I definitely 100% of the way agree with that. I think because um, I had a talk with a friend a few like last year,
Mm,
and he told me that whenever you can, you should try to leave. Because when you leave that kind of space that you've been living in for such a long time, your perspectives and your ideals and what you want out of life, your goals change. Because as much as it is physical, there is definitely a mental attachment to the place as well.
definitely.
To the point where, oh shit, like I've lived here this entire time. Why should I change on a mental level? There's no need to change. Like
Yeah,
this
it's like
this is
it worked for me so far. Like, why should I change?
yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I've been going through that. I've lived in this fucking house for as long as I've lived here since like 2004, dude. I need to get out for sure. But COVID's making it extremely difficult. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it actually is here. But anyway, it's like it's been. I agree that a change of environment physically. I'm not even talking about like mental environment, whatever the fuck that means. Like physically speaking, it's a good thing to move around.
Mm,
Um, and just at least try. If you don't want to, at least fucking take your foot outside the door and at least try it. If you take your foot outside the door and that's the furthest you've ever gone, that's progress. Next time, try to put your fucking other foot outside the door. Whatever the fuck. But yeah, I agree that a change of environment, not just like mental environment, like I said, whatever the fuck that means, but physical environment as well. Like if
mm,
you can move around if you can. And look, it's done wonders for Alex. Clearly, his motivational levels are much higher when you're surrounded by new people. There's an urge to try to, I guess, please these other people around you to. And whether or not that's a bad thing, remains to be seen. But still, trying to please other people isn't necessarily bad in and of itself. Like it's bad, when it consumes you. But like most things in life, it's good in certain amounts, right? So yeah.
like at the end of the day, like I know like a lot of the 18-year-olds that if they do listen to this, it's just more of like they want to have fun, and I think that's
Yeah.
fine. You know,
Oh yeah.
me being the old boomer that I am, turning the big
Dude, you're not a
2-0,
boomer.
turning the big
Jesus
2-0,
Christ.
right? Just like, if I was in my prime, in my youth, I would have spent my time better. Like, that's just me saying that because I've gotten older, a lot
Yeah.
wiser. And I'm just being hard on myself just because, like, I'm just hard on myself. And so, like, uh, and like, the thing is, like, no matter what choice you're gonna make, you're like at the end of the day, you're just gonna be like, well, what if? I think as long as you still enjoy the time you have, right? Like I enjoyed eating Cheetos. I enjoyed being a fat fuck. I enjoyed fucking playing all those video games. I really enjoyed it because it was so fun. I enjoyed partying. Like it was really fun. Um, Would I have like wanted to do that for like like for 6 months? Like probably not. But
Yeah.
what do I like now? Do I wish that I did some other things alongside with that? I would do, but me in the moment or me at that time, I thought it was perfectly normal, and that's just because like at that point in time, you don't have that much life experience, and you don't have like I'm saying that like, and I'm turning 20. Like, yeah, you 18-year-old don't have much life experience. It's like,
My
what the
bones
fuck, bro?
are so brittle.
Oh, my
I'm
knees are
20.
popping, my back hurts, arthritis are shutting. It's like
Jesus.
as ironic as that sounds, right? Take it as you will. I would say that I had quite a few life experiences. I would say so. I would say so. I feel like I do. I feel like I can brag about that under my belt. I don't think it's a good thing
Go
to brag
for it,
about.
dude.
I don't think it's a good thing to brag
No.
about. But
Brag about
I
it,
do
dude.
think I have had life experiences on the good side of the spectrum and the really fucking shit side of the spectrum and stuff in between. So yeah, I think that, you know, spending time in general, as long as you enjoy it, it should be fine. Because like at the end of the day, you're just gonna keep living, right? And we're providing suggestions for you based on our
Yeah.
experiences. But there's people out there that have had completely different experiences from us, and they're doing quite well.
Yeah.
And it depends, like on an
Absolutely.
individual per individual basis.
Yes, it does.
And like when at the end of the day, right? You're gonna make your choices, and whether or not you look back at them and you're just like, man, I wish I had more fun then, or man, I wish I did like productive things. It doesn't necessarily matter because like now you have the idea of what that was like in your mind, in which it'll help drive you as a person to determine how you want to push forward with your life. Because let's say if you are given a period of time where you can like spend it to doing other things, like let's say graduating after uni, before like maybe you use that period after like graduating into uni to figure out what kind of career you want to go into, or whether you want to continue further education and becoming like an honors or a master's or a doctorate student, in which you'll sort of like figure out like, okay, what goals do I have to set for myself. At the end of the day, it's just more of like it's a choose your own adventure kind of story, and it's like
Yeah,
you pick your own adventure.
it
And
really
if
is.
you
And
if you want to go by the flow, then that's your choice. But if you want to like seize the day, uh,
yeah, dude.
go for
Carpe
it.
diem, baby.
Carpe diem, seize the day.
I'm gonna carpe all these DMs, bro.
Oh,
For sure,
okay,
dude.
seize those
Yo, relax,
DMs.
dude.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yes, 100%. If you enjoy the things that you are currently doing, but if you feel like in the future you might regret the things that you're doing, like if you're, let's say right now, eating Cheetos and fucking sitting on the couch or fucking lying down on your bed and watching Netflix, because I did that too. But if you feel like you're gonna regret it in the future, that is a sign that you want to change, or you want to, if not want to change, then at least it's a sign that you want to do something. And if it is, take the time, at least try to, right? Try to take the time to find out what you want to do. Because what you want to do, unfortunately, it's not as easy as you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, I want to do this. Sure, it might come as that, but for the most part, that's most probably something fleeting. And if it's fleeting, obviously it's questionable. But still, if it's a feeling, try to chase it. Try to chase it and see where it leads. If it's something that you really don't like after a few months of doing it, then stop. Move on to something else. You don't have to keep on forcing yourself to do that thing. But then again, that's what the gap year is for, or at least in my mind. Then again, the gap year for other people may be different. But take the time in the gap year to try to find certain things that you want to do, because in life, no, you're not gonna have a teacher chasing your ass around, fucking, hey, you got to turn this shit in so that you find out what you want to do. No, it's not like that. That's yourself.
if only it was that easy. If only.
Yeah, if only it were that easy, dude. I swear to God. Yeah, just try to chase that feeling of wanting to do something, wanting to do something for yourself, and try to chase it around. Of course, do it if you have the resources. If you don't have the resources, try to do something else on the side that is within your reach, but also something along the lines you want to do. But yeah, a gap year is, so to speak, in a way, enlightening because you get to spend a lot of time with yourself. But because of COVID or the big Rona, everybody has had the chance to do that. Everybody has had the chance to spend some time with themselves, and that has led to, you know, a number of things, personally speaking. But yeah, it's definitely the gap year. It's good. Parents dog it because they want their children to do something in the future, and that's not a bad thing for them to want.
Or they want to get rid of their kids.
Or they want to get rid of their kids. They're just like, oh, you're taking gap year, you fucking leech.
Yeah,
Get out of
you
this
staying
house,
home?
kid.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It's like, I'm making the money. You're not. Get out.
You paying rent, bitch?
No, you're not. Fucking get out. But yeah, it's gap years are a good thing if quote unquote you do them right, because there really is no right way to do them.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's that was it for this episode. Once again, we hope you enjoyed this first episode of the Caffeinated Cortex. Technically, it's the first episode. Our actual first episode was really with like the What Gains episode 1, but let's just say for now that this is the first episode of the Caffeinated Cortex. Yeah, Alex, do you have any parting words for the fucking listeners?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and don't forget to check out the main podcast videos as well with the boys. Yeah.
So endearing. I love it. Okay. See you guys.
All right. Catch you, fellas. And